I feel like I'm embarrassed to not be polished, you know? Like I see these tools and I see how they're going to take me from point A to point B, and I need to just post it publicly. And like, if people are annoyed, like I'm trying, like at least I'm trying, you know, that's not, I just, you can get stuck in this could be better forever. I think that's where I'm sort of, I appreciate us meeting because it's the kick in the butt of like, it's time to be public. It's time to show the world what you're doing. You know, it's time to not just be revising. That is painfully apparent at the moment. I do think that in maybe two or three more sessions with Debbie, I should be done with that content wise. And then it'll be on her to read through it and see how she is comfortable with a teleprompter, that kind of thing, which, you know, I'm happy to support her in as well. But then for the actual recording, I'm not going to be involved in that as much. Yeah. That's where I don't have, that's the biggest block for me recently. That like at the very, I feel like worst case scenario, no one cares, you know? That like, you know, I guess people could be like cruel or rude about it or whatever, but that just seems,
I don't think people are like that very much on
yeah, right. That seems highly unlikely.
That people just ignore it.
Yeah.
And so that's why I think that you definitely kicking the butt, you got to do it. And once you do it, you'll realize, I think we'll do it together. Like I'm doing it. I feel the same way. One thing that I do that might help you that I even see, because you got to do it and you want to do it. So what I am doing, I don't know if we've never showed you this, is if you click on post, you could click on this button, schedule for later, and then you can schedule a post.
Mm-hmm.
And so the reason that I find that helpful is simply because it allows you to think about what your posting cadence is and not try to do things in real time, because that should be the workflow. You don't want to sit down and say, I got to post. You want to, when you feel good about posting something and it's ready, schedule it and then move on to the next one, whenever that is. So it just goes out and then you could forget about it and move on to the next one. I think that I found that even for clients, like building up the idea of doing it in real time, posting it and waiting for feedback is like a recipe for disaster. Because it doesn't even work that way in total transparency, because it like trickles in results over like 24 to 48 to like 72 hours. I mean, obviously to try to go viral, you want to try to optimize for getting results in the first few hours. But I wouldn't focus, since where you're at, I wouldn't focus so heavily on the posting. I think you should do it, but I think I would focus more on the outreach.
The networking.
Yeah. Like try to have conversations and try to get some conversations going so we could talk out more like nuances of ideal customer profiles, sales processes, and things like that.
Right.
What I wanted to kind of share with you is just kind of like thinking, well, one, this is for content purposes, because I wanted to kind of give you some structure that you could help me create better content by trying to lay out what the roadmap is of how this is going to go. I'm hoping that we can expedite this. Obviously, the time, we're a little stuck until Debbie records. But at the same time, I think we can parallel path a lot of this. So we don't need to like wait for her. So look, we've been talking a lot about LinkedIn. That's kind of how I viewed the phase one. That's even what I'm starting to post with. Those are like a little bit of clips of like talking about your profile, talking about little nuances about like getting ready to use LinkedIn as like a source to do customer discovery last time. And then even what you talked about today, you will have some clips about AI agents, ChatGPT. I still feel like we're in this. So it's like, trying to bring, some thoughts and ideas and like just ways to kind of think about how AI is being leveraged in your workflow and my workflow too. Because I think that this is a really interesting topic for people to understand when you're building businesses in 2025. Like you got to build agents, GPTs, but then also like even what you said, I kind of agree with you. I would start with one agent and then try to get that one good, then immediately starting to do two. I actually think that that's actually really valuable feedback on that. Because the agent should be smart enough to distinguish between writing as you and writing as the company page.
Well, that's what I was wondering is, do I need both of them or should I have kept them?
The reason that you would have different is if you want different output styles. At a certain point, maybe you feel like you want to write a more polished way for yourself, and you feel like that style of the way that you like writing for yourself is not the way that you want to write for the audience. Or maybe you start thinking it's too similar.
That's exactly what happened earlier this week, is that it was asking me questions. And then I realized, well, I know how to answer that for me.
But if you're not posting anything, I think you're going to be shooting yourself in the foot of like trying to, if you're not posting anything, I think you're going to be shooting yourself in the foot to try to optimize something that doesn't like need optimizing yet. Because if you, like the reason you would have two is because you're kind of building two audiences. So it's like, I could see why you would want to distinguish it if you're in conversations with people and then you're asking them to follow the company page, and then the content being produced in both places have a very similar vibe, and your audience is only like 10, 15 people.